You know, I was born loving two things, Africa and horses. I went to Spain to do a book on the life of the fighting bull, and then a lot of years later, I think it was not until 1986 did I go to Africa the first time. And I went back the next year, and I set up a camp called Jolla, and I did a book there called A Tent with a View. And I don't know if you saw that film, Dances with Wolves, but I was just with Maasai warriors, so I wouldn't see a white face for 6 weeks at a time. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic.
And that's the moment when the idea for this book started? I mean, you've been working on this book for 17 years now.
I've worked on this book for 17 years and traveled over 100,000 miles on it. I was into it so much that the name of the book is Remembering Africa, because Africa is going so fast. You know, now you see Maasai herders with tennis shoes and cell phones, and some have cell phones stuck in their earlobe holes, and so it's not the Africa that I had read about by a lot of the people in here, Jane Goodall, Peter Matheson. And so I decided that in order to keep, since most of their books were out of print, that I would go around and interview these people, all of these, and take these very extreme close-ups. And so they each, by magic carpet, come back to my campfire at Jolla and sit around the campfire and remember Africa. Later, when I didn't go back to the camp anymore, I didn't have the camp, in 6 months I lost 6 friends. James Michener, with whom I did Iberia, the book that we did together, which was on the New York Times bestseller list for more than a year. James Michener, John Fulton, the first American matador ordained in Spain, and John Derrick, the actor, and Beau's husband, and 3 other people. So I was just empty inside, and a friend had invited me to South Africa, in this really remote area where there wasn't anyone, and so I was there by myself most of the time. And in order to get back to life, I had to get very close to death. And fortunately, she filmed some things, or no one would believe that that those happenings happened.
Yeah, and when you see that footage, when you see the video, that's amazing, because really, you know, you are kind of walking, like you will walk on the streets, you know,
right.
But you are surrounded by, you know, huge animals, or animals that people know they can hurt you, they can, you know, really do something against you, especially the elephants. And you seem to be quite calm, or I imagine you were not that calm, but
I wasn't there really in a way, because Jonah Western, who was head of Kenya Wildlife at the time, saw it, and he said they had to know you were dead inside, because there's no way you could walk up from where I am to you, and this wasn't in a zoo or a safari park. These were, an elephant had just killed someone before I arrived there. To walk right up to a Cape buffalo, or to have an elephant charging right up to where you are, a bull elephant, and standing there. It's something I would never even imagine or think of doing today, but it did bring me back to life again.
This story, your message, people in Africa will hear you talking about it. So what would you tell them about the book, or about what you did with their continent, Africa?
You know, it's all going with the wind, unfortunately. The more people there are, the more they infringe on the natural world, and it disappears, unfortunately.
So you're preserving a moment in time here.
I'm trying to do that too. That's where the title is, Remembering Africa.
Remembering Africa is way more than a book. It's a part of Robert Vavra's life, a life dedicated to find the beauty. Felipe Barral, CNN, Lexington, Kentucky.